Orpheus looked back for a single heartbeat and lost the woman he had defeated death to save. That one forbidden glance became one of the oldest tragedies ever told. But the path to that moment was even more extraordinary. It began not in the underworld, but beneath the bright skies of ancient Greece, where a musician was said to possess a gift no mortal should have owned. His music did not simply entertain, it bent the laws of nature. Trees leaned toward him, rivers slowed their current, while beasts forgot to hunt. Even stones, according to ancient poets, seemed to move at the sound of his lyre. Yet the greatest audience he would ever face was not among the living. It waited in the kingdom where no one returned. Orpheus was remembered as the son of the muse Calliope, though ancient traditions differed about his father. Some named Apollo, the god of music himself. Others claimed he was the Thracian king Eurydice. The uncertainty only deepened his legend. Whether born of divine blood or royal lineage, one thing remained constant across the surviving stories. No mortal musician rivaled him. Greek poets described crowds falling, silent as the first notes echoed through mountain valleys. Sailors claimed storms weakened when he played. His fame spread across cities before he had ever faced the challenge that would define his name. Then love entered the story, and every miracle suddenly became too small. Eurydice appeared only briefly in many ancient versions of the myth, yet her presence shaped everything that followed. Ancient poets described her as a forest nymph whose beauty captivated Orpheus completely. Their wedding promised the beginning of a peaceful life, but Greek myths rarely allowed happiness to last. During the celebration, disaster struck with terrifying speed. While fleeing the unwanted pursuit of the shepherd, Aristaeus, in one famous tradition, Eurydice stepped into tall grass, where a venomous serpent lay hidden. The bite ended her life almost instantly. The songs that once filled forests with wonder were replaced by silence. But grief was only the beginning of an even greater impossibility. Most mourners accepted death, because no one escaped the realm of Hades. Orpheus refused. Instead of building a tomb or praying for comfort, he chose a road that every Greek understood as impossible. He descended toward the entrance of the underworld itself. Ancient traditions placed such entrances in different corners of the Greek world, from dark caves to sacred lakes. But every version agreed on one truth. Crossing that boundary meant leaving hope behind. Yet Orpheus carried only his lyre. He brought no sword, no army, and no divine weapon. His only chance was music. Whether that could move the rulers of the dead remained a mystery no living person had ever answered. The journey itself became legendary. Shadows replaced sunlight. Cold rivers cut through endless darkness. At the banks of the river Styx stood Charon, the grim ferryman who carried souls into eternity. Ancient poets claimed even he paused before the music of Orpheus. The boat crossed waters where every other traveler surrendered forever. Beyond waited Cerberus, the monstrous three-headed guardian whose task was simple: allow no soul to escape. Yet instead of roaring, the beast lay quietly at the musician's feet. The guardian of death had fallen asleep beneath a melody. One gate had opened. The greatest obstacle still waited deeper within the darkness. The palace of Hades was not a battlefield, but a silent court where every soul eventually arrived. There ruled Hades himself beside Persephone, queen of the dead. Around them stood judges, spirits, and the countless shades of those whose lives had already ended. Ancient poets described an astonishing scene unlike any other in Greek mythology. As Orpheus played, the eternal punishments themselves seemed to pause. Tantalus forgot his endless hunger. Ixion's spinning wheel slowed. The daughters of Danaus rested from carrying water that could never fill their jars. Even the Furies, feared for showing no mercy, were said to weep. Music had reached where armies never could. But mercy would come with a condition more dangerous than any monster. Hades agreed to release Eurydice. It was an extraordinary decision in Greek mythology, where death almost never surrendered its victims. Yet one law could not be broken. Orpheus would lead the way back toward the world above. Eurydice would follow behind him through every dark passage. until both reached the sunlight. He must never turn to look at her, not once, not even for reassurance that she remained there. The command sounded almost simple, but ancient myths often hide impossible tests inside ordinary words. The ascent had already begun, and every silent step made the burden heavier. The climb stretched through darkness without a single voice behind him. No footsteps echoed, no hand reached for his shoulder. The silence became its own torment. Ancient storytellers imagined the growing uncertainty, but never claimed to know exactly what Orpheus felt. Historians and classicists alike recognize that the surviving texts leave his thoughts unstated. The audience, however, understands the trap immediately. Had Hades deceived him? Had Eurydice fallen behind? Was he walking alone? Every step demanded faith without evidence. Then the first light of the surface appeared ahead. Safety seemed only moments away. That was precisely when everything collapsed. Only a few steps remained before the world of the living. Orpheus crossed into the light. Eurydice had not yet fully emerged. At that instant he turned. Ancient poets described the scene with heartbreaking simplicity. She reached toward him as her form dissolved back into shadow. No struggle followed. No second bargain. No rescue remained possible. She vanished into the darkness forever, leaving only a final farewell in later poetic traditions. The impossible victory had failed because of a single glance. Yet one question remained. Why had the gods offered hope at all if one human moment could destroy it? The loss transformed Orpheus. He wandered alone, refusing new love in many surviving traditions. His songs became darker, carrying grief instead of celebration. His story later became associated with the Orphic mysteries, though historians still debate whether the legendary musician was ever truly connected to the religious movement that bore his name. Followers believed the soul could be purified through sacred knowledge. Whether Orpheus inspired those beliefs or was attached to them later remains uncertain, but another ending awaited him. Ancient sources describe his death differently. The best-known tradition says he was killed by the Maenads, ecstatic followers of Dionysus. Some blamed his rejection of other women after losing Eurydice. Others saw a conflict between the worship of Apollo and Dionysus. The myths never agree. They do agree that his body was torn apart, while his severed head and lyre drifted down the river Hebrus, still singing as they floated toward the sea. Death ended his life, but not his song. Later traditions claimed the head reached Lesbos, where it became an oracle before Apollo ended its power. The lyre was placed among the stars as the constellation Lyra, turning an instrument of grief into part of the night sky. His body died, but his music escaped mortality. For centuries, readers have treated the story as a warning against doubt or impatience. Yet ancient authors never agreed why Orpheus turned. Some blamed human weakness. Others suggested the gods created a test no mortal could truly survive. That uncertainty has kept the myth alive for more than 2,000 years. It leaves every generation with the same impossible question. After walking through endless darkness in complete silence, would anyone truly resist looking back? The legend of Orpheus and Eurydice survived long after the temples of ancient Greece disappeared. Roman poets retold it. Renaissance painters immortalized the final glance. Opera, novels, films, and music returned to the same image. One man standing in sunlight, while the woman he loves disappears forever into shadow. Few myths have endured, because few capture hope and loss with such devastating precision. Orpheus crossed the kingdom of death and persuaded its rulers to break their oldest law. Yet history remembered not his greatest triumph, but one human mistake. And beyond the final note of his lyre, the silence still asks whether love can survive the moment we choose to look back.